guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about having a clean house after you have children. This is one of my biggest battles. I don't function well in a messy environment, okay? I just don't. It's a big struggle for me to keep it organized and tidy and, you know, looking kind of okay-ish. So everything changes after you have a child. You don't have time to clean for a start. Every time you clean, they're behind you making a mess. So it's like a constant battle. You're just kind of wasting energy, tidying up and organizing. It's not easy at all. It's one of the things I find the hardest. I just like it tidy. I just do. But there are certain things that I do every day to kind of minimize the mess, to keep things kind of in order, as orderly as they can be when you've got a child running around playing and, you know, having loads of fun. And the really simple, easy things that I've implemented into my everyday that just kind of help me to keep the space organized so that it's not a complete disaster by the time, you know, bedtime arrives when you've got no energy to tidy anyway. So I'm going to share those with you in this video today. So number one is make sure the toys have a home. We have a playroom, so we're really, really lucky in that respect. I know not everybody does. So it's really nice to be able to keep everything in one place. I mean, we have some toys kind of dotted around the living room. We've got like cars, big basket of trucks and things behind the sofa. So not everything is in the playroom, but most things have a home, and that really, really helps. If I didn't have a playroom, I would at least make sure that we had a shelf or a box or a corner or somewhere for the toys to live when they're not being played with. And the reason that's helpful is it's one way to tidy everything away at the end of the day, but also it's somewhere that your child knows kind of where to put things back to. So when you're teaching your child to put things back after they've finished playing with it and before they get something new out, then it's good for them to know where that stuff goes. I know some people like a play kind of box with things in. I just find it's a bit unorganized and messy. So I would do is have a shelf, some kind of shelf, doesn't have to be big, or individual baskets that have certain things in rather than throwing it all into one big toy box, because all your child is going to do is empty it out, and putting it back, you know, isn't really any tidier than just leaving it out, to be honest. It's just kind of, you put a lid on it and you don't see it. So yeah, I think a shelf is really good. So your child learns where things go. Another thing that we do is I set boundaries around movement of toys. It probably sounds a bit mean or a bit harsh, but I just think it helps to keep the space organized and to keep things where they should be. Now, I'm really into open-ended play. I love loose parts, as you know, because I talk about it a lot. So that means that playtime is kind of messy. You know, there's lots of little pieces. One thing leads to another. You know, sometimes the animals will come into the play, and then there'll be the rainbow, and then there'll be some kind of structure that she's building with like Lego, and then there'll be loose parts kind of on top of that, and it'll all get like totally crazy, but super, super fun. And I'm not the kind of mum that wants to limit the fun because of the mess, you know what I mean? Like I need a balance there. So my first rule is that playroom toys stay in the playroom. So things like loose parts, things like peg people, musical instruments, what else have we got in there? Train track, all those kind of things. And if they do come out, they come out in their basket, one area of the kind of living room that can be used, and then they go back in the basket and back in the playroom before kind of she can get other things out. But most of the time, playroom toys are played with in the playroom. We've got enough space in there. We've got a rug where things can be put out to play with. We've got a table if she wants to sit up there and do art and things like that. So, you know, it's a pretty good space to play in. It's not too far from our lounge. So if I'm in here, then she's not too far away from me. So it's all kind of connected. But it depends on how your home is really and how it's kind of laid out. If you can have like a corner or a shelf or some area which is assigned to playing and most things stay there, it just limits the mess. It means I'm not going to be tripping over loose parts as I walk through the living room. I'm not going to have things kind of flying under the sofa that I can't get to. And we're not going to lose things either, which is really helpful. So if you've got like a puzzle, there's nothing worse, is there, than losing a couple of pieces. If it's all assigned to one area, like a playroom, then it's just easier to keep everything together. Another thing I do is I make sure that my vacuum cleaner is really accessible. I keep it in the living room, on the wall. It's kind of hidden away behind the sofa because we don't have a utility or anything, you know, located around this area that we can easily get to. So that means I can nip behind the sofa, grab it. It's a cordless one, which is so helpful. And it means I can just tidy up quick messes, and it doesn't mean there's a whole crazy mess like for the end of the day to clean up. What I usually do is I vacuum after breakfast, and I usually vacuum kind of after dinner time before we go up to bed, and that just keeps things kind of tidy. It's not a deep clean, but it just means that there's less mess to kind of tread on or mess into the carpet, and just keep things looking okay. Another way to keep things organized is to involve your child in the tidying, and that isn't always easy because children don't always want to do it. But as they get older, if you build it into their routine, one step at a time, it becomes part of their everyday. So one thing that I'm trying to build into our routine every day is to empty the dishwasher together. You know, that can be like first thing in the morning type activity, and it's kind of fun as long as everything has a place and your child knows where things go. Then it can be kind of fun doing that together, and it's a kind of nice way to start the day. So it's something like that you can build into your routine with your child, like maybe after lunch you do the washing up together, or maybe if there's a spill, then you can teach your child where the cloths are so they can clean it up themselves. That's something that we do, and we've done that from quite a young age. Children go through a period where they're really into that. It's really fun to go and get the cloth and clean up, and you know, that can wane a little bit, but generally Mimi's really good at wiping up her spills, and she finds it kind of just normal and kind of fun. So I'm really glad that I introduced that as quite a young age. But it's things like that that you can do to build into your everyday and just make your workload a little bit less crazy. Another thing that I do is I am really good at putting things back. I don't tend to leave things around because then I find it all builds up and you've got a big cleanup to do at the end of the day, and I just don't like doing that. At the end of the day, I'm kind of tired. I just want to eat dinner. I just want to kind of chill, do a bit of work, do a bit of reading, you know, watch a bit of TV, whatever I want to do, and I just don't want to spend all evening cleaning. So things like putting things back and not being lazy is a really good thing to do. Like in the morning, I will make sure that I make the bed so that's ready for the evening to go. You know, I don't have to worry about it in the end of the day. When I leave a room, I try and put things where they should be. I kind of scan the room, have a look. If there's a couple of cups that I could be taking to the kitchen with me, then I'll grab those. If there's some coats that haven't been hung up, I'll hang those up. If there's some shoes that haven't been put in the right place, then I'll do that. It's just easier, I think, as you're going through the home to kind of pick things up and not leave it for later. It's just an easier way to do it. So another thing we do is I try and organize and get rid of things. The reason this helps is the more things you have, the less things there are to tidy and put away and clean. So that works really well. I'm on a bit of a minimalist journey, to be honest, trying to have less things because we don't have the biggest home and we don't have a huge amount of storage. So it just makes no sense to have more than we need. So the way that I'm kind of approaching this minimalist type thing is if I go to a cupboard and it's overflowing, that tells me that some of that stuff needs to go. Or if I go to put something back and it doesn't fit, then I've just got too many for, you know, the space that I have. So if I go to put some cups back in the cup cupboard and they don't fit in, you know, that tells me we just have too many, more than we need. So, you know, that's where I'm starting. I'm kind of looking at spaces. If it's overflowing, if it doesn't fit, then it's got to go. And it just means when it comes to cleaning and tidying and organising, everything has a place. It's really easy to put back. You don't have to fight over kind of getting it in, shoving it in the drawer, shoving it in the cupboard, and then having that stress later when you open it, it all falls out, because that does happen in my house quite a lot. And also, if something hasn't been used for quite a while, then I think that's a really good opportunity to get rid of it, to give it away, make someone else fall in love with it, give it to charity, sell it, or whatever you want to do. But I find if if something's been sat there for months and months and months and hasn't been used, it's just not very loved and not very needed. It's about being brutal, isn't it? It's about being brutal and saying, no, I don't need that. I might like it for some reason. I might think, oh, I'm probably going to use it, but the likelihood is I'm not going to use it, so it needs to go. So those are my top tips for keeping your house tidy after having a child, keeping things organized, just making your everyday a little bit easier when it comes to having a clean home. As parents, we don't have a lot of time to clean all the time, especially if our children are quite demanding. So those are little things that you can do every day really easily, build into your kind of habits to keep your house a little bit organized. I'm going to be sharing more on my minimalist journey over the next few months, so watch out for that, because I'm planning on getting pretty crazy with the tidying around here. I'll be sharing it all on my channel, so keep an eye out. If you're new to my channel and you like what you see, then please don't forget to subscribe. The best way to support me and my channel and its growth is to like and subscribe and share with any other mums that you think might enjoy it. So please do that if you are new here, or if you're not new and you know someone who will like my stuff, then please feel free to share. If you haven't seen my previous video, I'm going to be linking that above for you. And thank you for watching again, and I'll see you in the next video.